podcast with Lonzo in command. Brought to you by Compton Entertainment Chamber, across the land. News and information, straight and uncut, we deliver. Real talk every time, sharp like a sliver. Like and subscribe, stay tuned, let's ride.
Hey folks, as I just said, this is Lonzo, president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce and the editor for the Hub City Legend newspaper. And today, I got a brother I've been trying to get on this show for the last year or so. He's everywhere, but he ain't where I need him to be, but I got him today, though. Bruce, how you doing today? Mr. Bruce Boyden, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. Doing well.
I see Bruce at every meeting in Compton, various social events, various events on a regular basis. Bruce, I'm on your podcast. I'm gonna do it, Lonzo. No problem, Bruce. I'm going to Martha's Vineyard. I'm going to so Bruce. I ain't mad at you, sir. But I got it today. I called him this morning. He says, "Hey, I'm available today. I got to get him while I can." Bruce, we talked earlier. You sent me a text earlier, a long text about some of your achievements, man. You're here for a reason because you are a community leader. You're not a politician, but you know everything about Compton and what's happening in Compton. Give us some of your background, why you're so involved in Compton.
Well, I'm involved so much is because I'm, of course, a lifetime resident of the city of Compton. I am a product of the Compton Unified School District. I have worked my entire life around early care and education. I've had a career in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital for many years, and always thinking of Compton, though. It's my heart. It's where I belong. I'm where I'm supposed to be at this time. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to even give back to my local community in a volunteer capacity. And it gives me great joy. And more importantly, I think I know a lot. And, there's a little sense of nosiness about me as well. So my nose isn't everywhere.
What's your employment background? What did you do before you became a community leader?
I was a public school teacher for many years.
Okay.
And actually, I taught, I was a kindergarten teacher. So I was a novelty in Washington, D.C. There were very few men child development teachers in the country. So I was kind of felt special in that I was one of the few male teachers in the District of Columbia Public Schools that taught preschool or kindergarten. So I was a highlight in my career. And then I've had a great career. So I steadily moved up in the public school system as being a public school teacher. Then I was pulled out to work in a special project working with children prenatally exposed to drugs in utero. So that was an exciting time in my career. And I worked with 15 children. 5 of them were identified as being induced with crack cocaine from birth.
Wow.
So we said that if we did good practice for children, they would move along the learning continuum like any other child. Okay. And it was a 3-year longitudinal study. At the end of the 3 years, we found out that the children who were not identified from the local community had more exhibiting behaviors than those who came from being induced with drugs in utero. So it let us know at that time that crack cocaine was an epidemic in Washington, D.C. So this is the late 80s, early 90s. So the children who I was teaching in that particular project had lived in the hospital the first 3 or 4 years of their life. So when they were born, they found out that the mother had used crack cocaine during her pregnancy. So they couldn't let the child go home with the mother.
Okay.
So the child stayed in the hospital the first 3 or 4 years. So it was an exciting project. It worked for about 3 or 4 years. I then was promoted to supervising teachers in the district public schools, and I did that for many years. And then I became the director of the math science department of the entire school district, which had about 160 schools and maybe about 120,000 students. It was a big job. It had a lot of responsibility. I took that on as a task and was successful in that project. So that was probably not the last project I had, but mainly working with young people um, who had been induced with drugs early on was the greatest experience in my teaching career. So I went on back up into leadership. And at that time, my supervisor, who was the deputy superintendent of schools, retired and moved to the University of the District of Columbia.
Okay.
So I did the same. I resigned from the DC public schools and went to the University of the District of Columbia. There, I was a professor of education, and I did that for several years. And people don't know this, but UDC, the University of the District of Columbia, is an HBCU. It's the other HBCU
Didn't
in
know that.
Washington, D.C. Yeah, many people don't. Many people say Howard,
Right.
HBCU. Yes, it is. But the other HBCU is the University of the District of Columbia, which is, for lack of another word, it's like a state.
Okay. What happened to you, Bruce? Bruce, where you go? You were doing great. Bruce stepped off the screen for a minute, folks. I'm quite sure he'll be right back. Look like he might have pushed a button or something.
I'm
There,
Alonzo.
there you
Yeah.
go. Take your
So
time.
anyway, I had an exciting career in Washington D.C. and I was at the top of my game. And at the University of the District of Columbia, you only work your full time work week is like 25 hours, 30 hours at the most. So I didn't work on Mondays and I didn't work on Fridays and I didn't go to work before 12 noon. I was
Man,
supposed to die on that job. You
are they
hear me?
hiring for that one right there?
I was supposed to die on that job. But I had my mother who used to come from Compton every
Okay.
year to come and visit me for a couple of weeks. And the last time she came to visit, she told me she would not be back.
Hmm.
And of course, I blew her off and said, you'll be back next year, just like every year you come. But there was something in her voice that gave me a sense of her sincerity of not being able to come back to Washington. And it was because of her age. She said she had to take a wheelchair to get to the to get to the door of the airplane, and then she could walk into the airplane, but it was just difficult for her. Legs were hurting now. My mother was in her 80s, so she was like, this is it. So I meet what I did. Actually, I stayed in Washington another 2 weeks and I resigned my good government job
Okay.
at the University of the District of Columbia because my mother was alone here in Compton and I thought it was time for me to come back home. And I did. I left, came back home, and came back to the same job I left when
Yeah.
I left California.
And what was
And
that?
I was working at Charles Drew University of Medicine and
Okay.
Science.
Okay.
And I was working in the Head Start program. And they had the Head Start program for about 37 years. So I came back. I was engaged by the director at that time, who was Philippa Johnson. She asked, will I be willing to come back to run the education division of the Head Start program? And I said, sure, because it was around the corner from my house. So so that was my second time coming back to Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science. So I came back, um, and I was the director. I was the manager of the education division, the Head Start program. Eventually, towards the end, I became the deputy director
Okay.
of the Charles Drew University Head Start program. I've had a round circle of completion really to come back home. And again, my mother lived another 10 years
Okay.
when I came back home. So I didn't lose anything, even though I had the job of the lifetime that I thought that would be the ending of my career. But I came back and recreated myself again.
Okay.
And that's given me the impetus to do the community work that I do. My father was the scout master of the Boy Scouts here in Compton, and so I shared my father with many other boys
Okay.
to as I grew up, and that was at the Methodist Church, which was on Compton Boulevard at the time. That's where the city hall is now, but the
Okay.
Methodist Church is where the city hall is right now.
Okay.
My father was that. My father also was a lieutenant in the reserves of the Compton Police Department. He also owned a business. He owned a plumbing contracting business here in the city of Compton. So again, I tell people now when I look back at my life and think about all of the opportunities I had, that really I grew up as a middle class child. My
Okay.
parents, my mother was a stay-at-home mother. She didn't go to work until I was in junior high school. And you know where she came to work?
What?
At my junior high school. So she worked in the cafeteria at Roosevelt Junior High School. And my mother had never worked before. She did some little odds and ends kinds of things, but not a real job until she began to work for the Compton Unified School District.
Now,
So
Bruce,
Compton is important to me.
I saw you received an award recently. Tell me about that award you received.
I did. I actually was of an organization that I've participated in all of my career, which is the National Black Child Development Institute, which is in Washington, D.C. And they are focused in on African American children and their families in this country. And trust me, Alonzo, nobody cares about Black children. So
Huh?
this, nobody cares about them. When I say cares about them, I'm in terms of the context of support to children. Our children are still reading at the lowest level possible. African American children are still at the bottom. They're still at the bottom, no matter what we do. So this organization has been important to me in my life and my work, but more importantly, important to this country. So they have what they call the Council of Elders,
Mhm.
and the Council of Elders for this national organization basically are like advisors to the national organization, as it were. So I was inducted at the annual conference in October in Atlanta, Georgia. One of probably the greatest um, accolades that I probably have had in my career, and that was to be inducted into the Council of Elders. So I'm pleased about that and humbled to know that the work still goes on. I'm moving into a different category, which is means I'm headed towards my real home, and
Yep.
that's heaven.
Okay. Okay.
I'm at the end of my career, as it were. I still have a lot to give, but in another capacity. I like to look at young people and help to develop young people that they can have heart for their city, but more importantly, that they become viable citizens in the communities in which they live, in which they function, in which they have their own being. Um, I just still love Compton, in spite of whether Compton loves me. I'm not too sure. Yeah,
All right,
but
we.
my
I'm gonna leave that alone, Bruce. I feel like that can be sometimes that can be a questionable situation.
that it can be questionable. It
How,
can be questionable.
how many
Sometimes
Go ahead.
sometimes I'm on the good side of people, and sometimes I'm not on the good side of people.
You know
But
what?
I am
Sometimes you got to be that
independent
way.
and have my own mind. Go ahead.
How many different boards are you on, Bruce?
Oh, I would say about 4 or 5. I'm a former trustee of Compton Community College.
Okay.
I served there in the place of Willie Jones when he became
Okay.
council member.
Okay.
And so I took his slot at the college until the end of his term. There's a school on Alondra called Heavenly Vision,
Okay.
which is close to Wilmington. They have two schools, one in Watts and one in Compton. I serve as the chair of the board of that particular organization. I still serve on the advisory for early childhood at Compton Community College. I believe I do have a title there as the ambassador in one of the ambassadors to
Okay.
Compton Community College District. I really got involved when it lost its accreditation and just took a lead on helping to regain accreditation for Compton College. So this is one of my greatest accolades, I think. Besides being recognized as an elder at a national organization, my real work has been here in Compton to save the college, Compton College, and the college has been saved. And I did that with an organization called the Concerned Citizens of Compton.
Okay.
Yet again, another organization that I belong to, another organization that I'm on the board for, but an organization that is looking at the making lives better for citizens in the city of Compton. So one of our accolades, or one of our projects, was to regain accreditation for Compton College. We led that charge. The Concerned Citizens of Compton led that charge to regain accreditation. We went to Washington, D.C. We wrote tens of 20,000 letters in support of trying to regain the college. I went to Washington 3 or 4 times. I met with the Secretary of Education at the time to tell our story about Compton Community College and the importance of the college and to this community specifically. So, I've had many opportunities to try to support Compton. It still is probably number one on my list of supports that are needed. They are now they got a $80 million grant
Right.
to build student housing, and it seems to be coming up pretty quick. I've seen the structure
Yep.
on the campus, and they're moving quickly
Yep.
to do that. So this is work that I see. It's not my work per se, but I'm proud of what they're doing, and I support the efforts of Dr. Curry and what he has done. Dr. Curry has kept the doors open,
Okay.
and we must give Dr. Curry great credit for
Right.
keeping the doors open.
Right.
Now we need to get students. We need to get more students. We need to get more programs. We need to let people know that Compton College is alive and
Okay.
well and can be a career starter. So,
Okay.
in a nutshell, that's been my work.
Speaking of Compton College, we have
Yes.
had a mutual friend of ours we just recently lost that was vice president for Compton College for years. And I met him at Compton College, but we became friends because he lived across the street from my landlord at the time, one of my clubs I managed, and that was Ron Chapman.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Ron being such a great guy. And, I know he just passed back in September. You mentioned that earlier. Could you just share some stories or just some accolades of Ron Chapman for those who know him and those who wish they should have known him?
Right. No, Ron Chapman was a institution of his own self. He was a great supporter of projects and programs that enriched children's lives and, more importantly, enriched people's lives. He was a member of the 100 Black Men's Organization in LA and in Long Beach. And his work, though, his primary work, it was committed after he retired. He retired about 20 years ago from Compton College. He
Okay.
decided to take on the responsibility of helping the St. Timothy's Episcopal Church and School, as well as the St. Timothy's Tower Manor, which is a senior citizen building. And he served as the executive director of that project and was the backbone of the St. Timothy's Episcopal School and Church. He was a great leader at the college, a great leader here at St. Timothy's. But there's another side of Ron, though, that made him so unique. and that was he was going to always be in charge,
Oh
and
yeah.
he was always a be in charge kind of guy. There's one story I like to share all the time about Ron, is that when I first met him, he was the vice president of Compton College, and we had a head. Remember, I told you I worked at Charles Drew
Okay.
twice. I worked there in 1978. Now I'm aging myself. I worked there as a Head Start teacher in 1978. And then I came back in 2001 and became the manager of the Head Start program. We shared a bungalow on the Compton College campus.
Okay.
We served Head Start children in the morning, and the college served young children, in the same building at night. So we shared the same bungalow. The bungalow, of course, was paid for by Head Start. So once years had gone by, and we had made other changes in the Head Start program over the years, and we no longer needed the campus at Compton College. So we went back, the leadership went back to get the bungalow, to move the bungalow to some other location. And Ron Chapman's first words out of his mouth were, "The bungalow is going nowhere." And we said, "But Mr. Chapman, this built bungalow was bought by the Head Start. Federal dollars bought this bungalow." And his response to me was, "Possession is 9/10 of the law. Let me see you take it."
Okay. Sound like Ron.
Ultimately, he won that fight. That module is still on that campus. On
Wow.
that campus, so he was a leader, a great leader for the school at the time, and he was on the side of the college no matter what. Even though technically he knew that bungalow belonged to the Head Start program, but that made no difference to him. He needed that bungalow still on that campus. That's one story I can tell about him. But he was a rough and tough kind of guy. I had the privilege of having interaction with him on a daily basis for the last 10 years, of which he had some health challenges at that time. But he still pushed himself every day. Um, he would push himself no matter what his physical condition was. He came to the church and the school every day that he could, that he was healthy.
You dropped out, Bruce. You dropped out. I can't hear you. You dropped out. What happened? I can't hear you. Nope. I didn't change anything. Huh. Nope. Nope. I'm here. I just can't hear you. Oh, it's going to make me mad. Great interview with Bruce Boyden. And for some reason, we're having a technical difficulty. Bruce's end is not coming through at all. There's no audio on Bruce's side. I see him fine. The mic is open. He has a great bar as far as reception. But for some reason, there is no. Can you hear me, Bruce? You can hear me, but I can't hear you. Okay. You want to go out and come back in? I'm going to talk to you for a minute while Bruce resets his phone. And we're going to attempt to bring this back in just a second, folks. You're live with Lonzo, the editor of the Hub City Legend and the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce. And every once in a while, actually about twice a month, we like doing interviews with people from the community. Bruce will be one of our honorees in the Hub City Legend newspaper. And if you want to advertise in the Hub City newspaper, give me a call at 424-562-256. Oh my God. 424-256-9211. You see it scrolling right above my head there. That's our number. And Bruce will be back shortly. Hopefully he'll have the audio together and we can bring him back in with no problem whatsoever. And let's see what happens when he comes back. In the meantime, you're live with Lonzo. I like doing live shows, but unfortunately, every once in a while, you run across a technical difficulty that just makes it's just totally unforeseen for no reason whatsoever. Bruce just stopped. I stopped hearing Bruce. He still heard me, but hey, that's technology. Sometimes it's the most beautiful thing in the world. Sometimes you can curse it like the devil. But Bruce will be back shortly, and hopefully he'll be able to come back in nice and clear. And as I hear him, I see him, I still don't hear you. I still don't hear you. Okay. He should be back shortly, folks. You are live with Lonzo, Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop, president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce. But today, I'm the host on the Hub City Legend podcast. We interview our community leader, brother, very influential brother. Brother gets around a lot. He's everywhere. He's a big part of the community, like he said. Sometimes they love him, sometimes they hate him, but he always speaks the truth, and that's what I like about him. Bruce Boyden, he'll be back shortly, and we should resume the podcast. Let me see here.
Yeah, I'm
Bruce,
back.
there you go.
Can you hear me?
I got you, yes.
Okay.
What you do?
I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I'm okay now. I'm back on with you.
All right, there you go. We'll cut that part out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got projects, many projects, you know.
Hey, man, you know what? I got one when I get through talking to you. I got one to get back on. So
I'm sure.
But Bruce, at our age, we're supposed to be retired and doing something else. We're supposed to be playing golf or watching Gunsmoke.
Well, listen, I've been blessed to, for the last 30 years, I've been able to summer in Martha's Vineyard. So I take some time out for self. So I usually spend maybe a month. Lately, not that long, but a month usually. And I have a friend that owned the home in Martha's Vineyard who recently transitioned. When I say recently, like May or June. I did go back to the island in July, spent a couple of weeks. But, you know, life changes and you got to move on. That's not my only travel space, but there was one place that I called home, a second home. So I've just been fortunate and blessed.
Since you came back, I don't see the record button on. Hope we still recording.
I hope we are.
I hope we are. Let me see something here.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep talking.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep talking, and I'm praying that we ain't lost nothing here. Okay. All right, go ahead. We're talking about Mr. Ron Chapman.
Yeah, Mr. Chapman, who basically dedicated the last part of his life. Which, by the way, since I want to mention that his 82nd birthday was just this past Friday.
Okay.
So he was 82, 81 when he left, gave his latter part of his life to St. Timothy's Episcopal Church and School. Okay. And was just a great guy that loved to give to others to make them happy, whatever that was. Okay. I've been a benefactor of many things. In fact, the last 2 cars that I've had were given to me by Mr. Chapman.
Did you get the Stutz Bearcat?
I beg pardon?
Did you get the Stutz? The Stutz?
The what?
Did you get his Stutz Bearcat?
I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Did you get his Stutz? He had a Stutz Bearcat.
No. Oh, no. I think he gave that one to his nephew.
Man.
But you know, he was a connoisseur of cars. I think
Yes.
he had about 15 of them at his home.
Okay.
Anywhere from a Porsche to a Mercedes to a Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
He's had them all. But we will be we're saddened by his loss. We just celebrated the 100-year anniversary of the St. Timothy's Episcopal Church was 100 years this year.
Okay.
We celebrated it last Sunday at Dollar Height, and we also did a memorial at the same time for Ron Chapman during that service. That was on, when was it? Time just flies so fast. 2 Sundays ago.
Okay.
Was when we had the celebration for Ron, as well as the church. St. Timothy's is one of the oldest churches in the city of Compton. The only older church, which is by a couple of years, is Our Lady of Victory. So there's the 2 institutions, religious institutions in Compton that are still here, that have been here at least 100 years. So excited about that title.
All right. Well, Bruce, it's been a very informative interview talking to you, Doc. You are one of them amazing cats. And every time I talk to you, I learn something new. And I'm going to keep on talking to you so I can keep on learning. I know you got things to do. And I do.
I do.
Go back to your regularly scheduled program. We're going to wrap this interview up, and I will send you a link once it's all edited out and everything. But in the meantime, this week's honorary Hub City Legends is Mr. Bruce Boyden, folks. Much love to Bruce. Bruce, thank you very much. And we're going to give you a little round of applause right quick.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me to share.
I appreciate you, Bruce. Much love to you, Doc. Thank you very much.
You too. All right, brother.
Have a great one now.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Welcome to Hub City Legend Podcast with Lonzo in command. Brought to you by Compton Entertainment Chamber, across the land. News and information, straight and uncut, we deliver. Real talk every time, sharp like a sliver. Like and subscribe, stay tuned.